Hey everyone, Prep and Paul here. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to go over the 60-meter band and how to program it into my iCom 7300 using the RT Systems software. What is the 60-meter band? Is it channels? Is it frequencies? How do I do this? Well, let's get into it and figure it out. All right, so this video is dedicated to how to program 60-meter frequencies and channels into the IC 7300 radio. Now, for those who have Yaesu radios, the newer radios at least, they have them pre-programmed in the last memory slots. I believe the last 10 slots of Yaesu radios memory channels will be the 60-meter channels programmed in, so you don't need to do anything. With my iCom 7300, we're going to go through how to set those frequencies with RT Systems software. So if we look at the RT Systems software here for my Yaesu 101D, you'll see I've put some memories in here, some 10-meter repeaters. But if you scroll to the very bottom of the memory channels, and you do this the same, you look at it on your radio, you don't need the software to see this. You'll see these last 10 here. You'll see simplex, 5 channels USB, and 5 channels CW USB. And then on your radio, when you go to the bottom of this memory channels, you'll see these already preset. So you can select these channels, and basically this one is channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and so on and so forth. Now in the software here, of course, you can change all sorts of things. But what we want to do is we want to use RT Systems and program in the appropriate frequencies so that I can have them easily accessible on my iCom 7300. Now you'll see in here, let's just take channel 1 here, 5.332 is the channel you'll see on the screen of your Yaesu, the way they've programmed it in. But for voice, that is not the frequency that you're going to be transmitting on. So let's look at the band plan and see what frequency we would actually be transmitting on. So here's the ARRL US Amateur Radio Bands band plan chart. This lists all the bands that amateur radios can use in the United States, and it shows the various frequencies and sections of the frequencies that you can use depending on your license. And they all look pretty similar, right? The red, the blue, or red, the green, red, green, red, green, until you come down here to 60 meters is 5.3 megahertz. Let's zoom in a little bit on that. So as you can see here, 60 meters in the 5.3 megahertz range. Let's read this little text under here on the band plan. General, advanced, and amateur extra licensees may operate on these 5 channels on a secondary basis with a maximum affected radiated power of 100 watts relative to a half-wave dipole. Permitted operating modes include upper sideband voice, USB, CW, RTTY, PSK31, and other digital modes. Only one signal at a time is permitted on any channel. So now that's kind of a word we don't hear too often for the frequencies we usually use as channels. But the way the government has it set up is these are listed as channels or called channels, these 5 channels. And in each channel, you've got a range or a bandwidth of frequency that you're able to use. So now you remember that first frequency on the Yaesu memory was 5.332, okay? And if you look at the band plan, that's this frequency up here, 5.332. So the memory name or main frequency on those channels is the center frequency for channel 1, which is 5.332. The bottom end is 5.330.5, and you don't want to go out of those, out of that range, out of that bandwidth when you operate, whether it's voice, CW, or digital. So what we want to do with voice, since it's going to be upper sideband, as you can see right here, it's upper sideband, we're going to set our transmit frequency to the lower portion of the channel so that the bandwidth goes up into the channel and doesn't go over that frequency limit. So what we want to do is we want to have this number, and if you want to label it with the center frequency like Yaesu did, you can have that number. So we're going to do the voice memory channel and the CW memory channel. So we're going to start with channel 1, we'll go through channel 5, and we'll put these lower edge frequencies in for voice first. So let's go to the RT Systems software. So what I want to do here, as you can see, I've got IC7300. I've got no frequencies listed because I haven't used this yet. But what we'll do is scroll to the very bottom, and similar to the Yaesu settings, I want to use the bottom 9 or bottom 10 memory slots here. And because to be honest, I don't really have a lot of memories I put in HF radios. So we're going to start with number 80 here, line number 80. Now, what was the frequency again, that bottom frequency? Let's look at a PDF from the ARRL. It kind of makes it easier. So if you go to the ARRL and pull up the 60-meter operations, privileges, and recommended practices, and I'll put a link of this PDF in the description of the video. What they've put in here, table 1, which is channel 1 through 5, you can see, they've put in the bottom edge of the frequency so that when we transmit USB, it goes above that and stays in each channel or frequency bandwidth. So these are the numbers we want to transfer over to the memory station for our transmit frequencies. So we're going to start with 5330.5. So let's go to that number 90. And up here, receive and transmit frequency is 5.3305. So 5.3305. And when you tab, it automatically puts the transmit frequency in as well, right? Because it's a simplex frequency. We're going to change AM to USB. This is not data mode. We're not really split, but that changes automatically to USB. We're not doing split data. Now here's where you can name it. You could name this the center frequency if you want, but what I want to do is I want to name it channel 1 USB. There's no tone, there's no CTCSS, there's none of this. We're going to leave all this as is. So let's go to the next one. Let's look back at that band plan. For channel 2 is 53465. Okay. Go back here. 5, 3. Whoop, I do that a lot. Got to get past the dot. 5, 3, 4, 6, 5. Tab. Change to USB. Go to the name, and we're going to do channel 2, USB. Let's go to the next one. And we'll look at that one is 5357. Okay. 5357. Tab. It maintains the number. Just double check just to make sure. The RT Systems automatically does it for you. USB, and we're going to name this one channel 3 USB. We've got 2 more to go. Then we're going to check the fourth is 53715. 5371. Whoops. 53715. Okay, it maintained that frequency. We're going to change USB and channel 4 USB. And last but not least, for voice, 54035. Put that there. Oops. See, I did it again. I'm used to 53045. Actually, let me double check. 54035. I had that backwards. 54035. Make sure that's the same. USB. And this will be channel 5 USB. Okay, so we've got the 5 voice channels in here. I've already downloaded from the radio. So let's just how we are now. Let's see if we can upload back to the radio these 5 frequencies on 60 meters or in our memory channels. Let's go to communications. Now remember, I've already The first thing you want to do with RT systems is when you plug in and everything's set, you get the data from the radio. I've already done that. So now we're going to send data to the radio. I'm plugged in. My radio is on. Let's transfer. So now it's running through the memory banks. I'll speed this up. Okay, it should be all set. So let's change to our project cam. We're connected. Let's go to memory first, which is up over here, the V/M, VFO/memory. And we're going to go to memory. Just tap that. Now there's nothing there because I have nothing in the memory. But let's scroll. We could go forward 2, 3, 4, but there's nothing there because we didn't put anything. So let's go backwards just to get there quicker. 765. And what do we have here? There we go. There's the channel 1, channel 2. Or sorry, I'm going backwards. You can see above. It says channel 5 USB there. Channel 4, channel 3, channel 2, channel 1. I now have the 60 meter frequencies programmed in the memory that this will be for voice. And we're good to go. So when we transmit, because it's upper sideband, each frequency will go towards the middle of the channel or frequency bandwidth allotted for our use. Now all we do is we're going to set the last 5 for CW operations. So let's go back to the computer and let's set those in the memory. Okay, so looking again at the privileges and recommended practices from the ARRL on 60 meters, that first table is our settings for the voice frequencies. So let's go down to CW and see what we have to do in this case. So now you look here, it says CW operation must take place at the center of your chosen channel. This means that your transmit frequency must be 1.5 kilohertz above the suppressed carrier frequency as specified in the report order C Table 1. So for CW, it's not going to be the same settings as our USB voice operations. Basically, we're going to put those center channels in, if you recall, on the band plan. Let's go back to that. And those center channel frequencies are listed at the top here. So these are the 5 frequencies we're going to put in for channel 1 through 5 for CW. So let's go ahead and put those in. So number 1 was 5332. So number 1 is 5332 tab. We're going to change this to CW. That is also CW. And we're going to say this is channel 1 CW. Now we're going to go ahead and do the rest of them. We have 5348 for channel 2. 5348. We'll go to CW and we'll do channel 2 CW. The next one is 53585. 53585. Tab, hit the letter C. Tab. And this is channel 2 or 3, CW. Channel 4, which would be 5373. 5373. Tab, the letter C. We'll click on this. Channel 4, CW. Last but not least, we have channel 5 is 5405. 405. Tab C. Channel 5 CW. Okay, that's all the voice and the CW channels frequencies. You could double check, verify that that's right. I'm going to click save real quick so it saves my memory file of Paul's IC7300 to the computer. And let's go up and send data to radio. We're already good to go. Click OK. It's sending them again. We'll speed this up. So we are all loaded with the total of 10 channels for 60 meters, voice and CW. Let's see now if those last 5 memory channels have something in them. Remember, they didn't have them before. We're going to tap the VFO memory knob. So here you can see up here on the radio, we're at channel 4 USB. So let's go channel 5 USB. Now the next one, memory number 95, should be channel 1 CW. And there it is. So now we've got all of the last 10 memory channels set to 60 meters. So now if I want to communicate on channel 1, I simply go to Memo 90. It's already set to the frequency required for USB to not bleed over, outside of the carrier frequency range. And you're good to go. Okay, so we've got USB and CW memories programmed in. But what about those digital modes? What do we do for that? Well, let's go back to that ARRL document of recommended practices, and let's see if we can figure it out. So the first one is 5332. So where is that? Let's look at the band plan. Look at that. Digital mode is the center frequency. So basically, it's the same as CW, using the center frequency for each channel instead of the base area. And the reason for this is because CW and digital takes up much less bandwidth. So using the center frequency, the entire transmission stays well within the range of that channel. So we can program all these in, same as the CW, and maybe just put DG or something at the end of that in the name category. So if I wanted to do 5 more, I could put them in here. But you may not use one type of digital, so I'm not going to put it in here. If you go to WSJTX and choose 60 meters, it's going to put you on the necessary frequency. So you don't even have to worry about that. If you want to put them in, I guess you can. If you're using something that doesn't automatically choose the frequency, then you'd have to know these frequencies and you'd have to put them in like VFO manually before you transmit, or in the software if you've got cat control set up. But that's pretty much it. Now we have our iCom 7300 with pre-programmed channels for 60 meters on voice and CW. And that's basically how it works. So if you haven't tried 6 meters, give it a try. If you have an antenna that's not set for 60 meters, if you've got a multi-band antenna, you might be able to tune in. So give it a try, and it can be a fun band. This is also a band that's quite useful for emergency communications, like nvis communications, as it sits between the 40 meter or 7 megahertz and 80 meter or 3.5 megahertz bands. It sits kind of in between and can be very useful for near vertical incident skywave propagation and communications. So there you have it. That's how you get those 60 meter channels programmed into your radio using the RT System software. Now, you don't need the software to program it. Certainly you can do it manually. I just find software makes it a little bit easier. So now that you understand the 60 meter channels and frequencies, whether it's voice, CW, or digital, get them programmed in your radio and get on the air and see who you can contact. Hopefully this helps. And thanks again for stopping by. Be safe, stay prepared, and 73s, everyone.